Hey everyone, and welcome back to Mall Walking. Today, we're at Rivergate Mall in Goodlettsville, Tennessee. To be more specific, we're walking up one of the most depressing external corridors I've ever seen to get to one of the mall's main entrances. No plants, bare plywood, uncovered dumpsters. This place had it all. And we're kicking things off with a flyer for one of those competitions where whoever has their hand on a truck the longest wins the truck. A format that I thought had been outlawed years ago because of how dangerous it can be for participants. But maybe I'm wrong. If you're finding this video in January, please don't close it because of that Halloween shtick. Even if this promotional video running at 3 times speed does look like something out of a horror movie. This video should actually be fairly evergreen, and the only scary thing about it is the rusting carcass of Sears and how dead parts of this mall are. Hollister, for example, is long gone. But the porch, as they so often do, remains. And although every kiss begins with K, it apparently ends with it as well. But let's rewind and get into some history, because there's some interesting stuff about this mall that I think retail fans will really enjoy, beyond the enormous displays of mall plants like those coming up on the left. Rivergate is a super regional mall not too far from Nashville that was opened in 1971. And just look at how achingly cool it was back in its heyday. It was the largest mall in Tennessee for most of the 70s, until the now defunct Hickory Hollow Mall opened in 1978. It has around 60 shops spread over more than 1 million square feet of retail space. But it's currently nowhere near capacity. Right now we're passing the vintage frontage of what, according to a Reddit comment, used to be the site of the last Gloria Jean's Coffee between New York and Florida. It's since been shuttered and taken over by a new tenant, Coffee Corner. I think it's worth pointing out that this mall is less than 15 miles away from the vast Opry Mills Mall, which I explored outside of its regular opening hours in a previous video that's well worth a watch. And that place boasts more than 3 times as many stores in the same area of retail space as Rivergate does. Unless you're into retail stuff and want to get a peek inside an abandoned Sears, which we'll do a little later, or explore this place as a time capsule, I'm not sure why you'd come here over Opry Mills or the mall at Green Hills. And that's a problem so many American malls are facing right now. As soon as they lose a few brand name stores, the problem of getting people to come and shop there compounds upon itself, and you end up with lots of vacancies as a result. With all of that said, the mall itself is actually not bad. It was pretty clean, well stocked, and had plenty of staff and security making the rounds. 2 of the mall's anchors remain empty after they were vacated by Sears and Macy's, with Dillard's and JCPenney still hanging on. I mentioned parts of this place functioning as sort of a time capsule earlier, and this old school tiled Dillard's frontage is a great example of that. And although a lot of household names like Hollister and Bath & Body Works have bailed out of Rivergate, the mall has some interesting tenants. Like an absolutely massive guitar centre that does repairs and gives lessons, and a jiu-jitsu gym that was preparing to open at the time of my visit. Hendon Properties, the mall's current owners, have done a reasonable job of filling vacancies, with everything from barbers and salons to table tennis and churches taking up residence. The result is a bit of a mishmash, but the overall effect still feels like a mall. I will point out though that they have signs advertising vacancies and leasing opportunities everywhere in the mall. I would try to make spotting them all into a drinking game, but I don't think I have enough liquor in the house. If someone's bored enough to comb this video to count every leasing sign and vacancy poster, I'd love to know the final figure. This guy here is sitting right outside where Victoria's Secret used to be before it closed. This is the picture that Hendon is still using on their website. And the Journeys we're coming up on now is actually the first ever Journeys in the entire US. I'd have taken you all inside, but, well, it looked just like every other Journeys you've ever been in. You're telling me I came 3,000 miles to end up at an American version of a 90s British football shop? And can someone please tell me what this frontage used to be, because I know I recognise it and it's driving me crazy. Please drop me a comment if you can help. I'll be over here playing the world's largest Pac-Man. Anyway, I wanted to get this video out in time for Halloween because of this cute little walkthrough display for kids. I was impressed at how it was all done out for the holiday, even though I visited more than 2 months before Halloween. I actually gave this mall precedence over a video that will briefly feature a spirit Halloween in an old Sears, but that'll be coming in the future. Make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so you don't miss it, or any of the other malls I've got in the pipeline. I really like when malls have an Easter Bunny, Santa or Halloween display because it gives them a sense of character. But I'm often left wondering if things like that are the best use of presumably limited funds. We're coming into the food court now, which inexplicably has a clothing store in one corner, and used to have this incredible neon signage. And a carousel, a true Dead Mall staple. I'm not sure why things like those, which can give a place so much character, get the boot in favour of holiday decorations. The days of TV and radio ads for malls, like the one at the beginning of this video, a stellar example from 1971, are pretty much long gone. At least decking a place out for the holidays makes it look nice for shoppers and walkers who are already supporting the place. And I'm not in mall management, despite all those enthusiastic letters to Simon and Moonbeam, but even I know that the cost of seasonal decorations wouldn't put a dent in the cost of an exterior refurb to get this place looking less like a minimum security prison. Although I do feel like I owe a shout out to this beautiful Dillard's exterior entrance, complete with original brass door handles. I thought it looked like something out of Fritz Lang's Metropolis, or a Bioshock video game. Back inside the mall, there's another sign trying to lease stores. Anyone out there still counting? Let's go past Next Level Gaming, which looks like a great spot if you're into trading cards or tabletop games. Underneath one of those skylights that makes you feel like you might be about to get abducted by aliens is the site of the old Sears anchor. Whereas most malls put up barriers to stop you peering inside, you can see right into this one. It was actually a shot of this spot on Reddit that convinced me to visit this mall in the first place. Shout out to reasonable_goal4531. As Sears across the country continue to disappear, 11 total remain at the time of this video's release, this well-preserved location might end up being a piece of retail history. But what about the rest of Rivergate, the perfect spot to open your shop? Will it persist? I expect so. It's the meat in a shopping district sandwich, with a Walmart, Target and Best Buy on one side, and a Home Depot, TJ Maxx and Hobby Lobby on the other. That, along with its proximity to I-65, will probably be enough to draw some footfall for the time being. Although it has to be said that I didn't see a ton of evidence of that during my Friday afternoon visit. If you've ever seen my Instagram, linked below, you know how much I miss the Forest Fair fish. Well, the spirit is alive here, and I love that Rivergate, named for the nearby Cumberland River, is keeping that nautical vibe alive. In 2022, a plan for, say it with me folks, a mixed-use redevelopment was proposed for part of the mall, including 476 residential units. I've lost count of how many times I've talked about developers trying to rezone pieces of struggling malls as residential spaces. So the tentatively titled Lofts at Rivergate is definitely not without precedent. Here's an artist's rendering of what it might look like. I initially wondered if that was why the former Sears had been left open in the way that it is. No point trying to hide things away if city officials and planning committees are going to be coming and going. But I later found out that it's the former Macy's. That's the vacant anchor at the end of this corridor they're hoping to take over. So that was that idea out the window. There doesn't seem to be much news about the proposed plans since June of 2022, but investors paid $4 million for the 12-acre plot in 2020. so you have to think that they're still pushing the idea. The apartments wouldn't be attached to the mall and would be sold at, quote, fair market rate. Well, we'll see about that. So what do I think of this mall? It's all about context. New Jersey's Bergen Mall, the first retail complex to be actively promoted as a mall, opened in 1957 and wasn't enclosed until 1973. By that time, Rivergate had already been open for 2 years. If you discount 100 Oaks Mall, which has mostly been taken over by Vanderbilt University Medical Center, I believe Rivergate is the second oldest active mall in the state of Tennessee, after Memphis's Southland Mall. Say what you will about it, but this doesn't feel like a mall that's more than 50 years old. I think it has some life left in it yet. I got the impression that not every Google reviewer agrees, but I did like this person's summary of the situation. Thanks for checking out my video tour of Rivergate Mall. If you enjoyed it, I hope you'll consider liking and subscribing. My Instagram, Patreon, and some other ways to support the channel are in the description below. Well, that's about it from me and the mall walkers for today. Until next time, goodbye from Goodlettsville, and goodbye from the Go Place, the Park Free Show Place, the Shoppers Go Place. It's Rivergate Mall.